checkout link, which essentially will allow you to be able to check out for your particular application or website using the Intasend API by just providing the required parameters to be able to initiate this link. Or if you are a freelancer, you can also use this to be able to request payments from both your local and international clients by being able to generate a link that you can share via WhatsApp or any other social platform that will enable these particular clients to be able to make a payment. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. So this is a very simple implementation of the same. Here is the implementation I had done. It was a simple one. I had only two input fields being dynamic while the rest were hard coded. But with this, you are able to generate a checkout link that enables you to make payments. So let's just go ahead and do the same. Open this up with a PHP server, like such. And while that actually loads up, if you are able to actually tune in towards this video and you haven't subscribed, I would like to request you to just head down there and hit that subscribe button. And if you are a regular viewer, then a like to this video would help the algorithm be able to push it to other people who may need it. So just go ahead and take a minute of your time and do that, and I would really appreciate it. Anyway, moving away from that, what you will need to be able to follow along with this tutorial in terms of the resources is simply a code editor, an internet connection. Clearly, you have that since you're watching this video. Then you will need this PHP SDK, which is the official one from Intasend, which you can find it at packages.org/packages Intasend dash PHP. Do not worry, I will leave this link down in the description as well as a link that you can use to sign up at no extra cost to you, and it will also be able to support the channel to keeping the lights on. So just go ahead and create an account down below. And while you're waiting for your account to be approved, because it will need to be approved, we can go ahead and use the Sandbox credentials for this particular tutorial so that you guys will be able to follow along regardless. So the implementation has been able to load up, and from this, we were able to create a checkout whereby I can enter the amount and an email address. And once I click on generate, I'll be served up with a payment link right here, which if I go ahead and go and open this up in a new tab, I should be able to check out, and my code or the system that I have should be able to know the status of this transaction, and I should be monitoring it actively from right there. So if I go ahead and click pay now, you already know how this goes. I'll be presented with MPESA and card, and I can be able to choose whichever and be able to process this transaction. This link does not expire. That means you can share it to the client, and whichever day they decide to click and pay, they'll be good to go. So let's just go ahead and do this particular implementation right now from scratch. So I'm just going to go into this. So what I've actually done is I've actually just run the command to install the PHP SDK, and I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of everything except these credentials, because I will need these credentials to be able to authenticate and use the API. So I'm just going to get rid of all the code that is in here and then just close that terminal. So as you can see, I'm just going to close this just like that, and we'll be working directly from here. So let's just head back to the browser. And if I give this a refresh, this should be blank. Yep. So what we're going to do is if you go ahead and check out this documentation right here, we duplicate that, bring it over here. If you go ahead and check out this documentation, you will be directed on how to install this particular SDK. So you just have to run composer require Intasend /Intasend PHP on your terminal. I've already run this command. And if you don't know what composer is, it is a package manager for PHP. You can just go ahead and Google composer and you will see how you can install it on your system if you don't have that already. Well, this is the code we require to be able to make this request. So I'm just going to copy this right up to this point. And if I go ahead and go into my editor and paste that right here. As you can see, we're just creating a new instance of the customer class in the PHP SDK. We're just filling in the details that is required. You also have to put in the host and the redirect URL, which means if this transaction is a success, then this is the page the client will be redirected to. So this is useful in the cases, maybe if you want to thank your customer for making such and such payment, you can create a custom page for yourself, and it will be good for your brand or whatever it is that you are actually working on. So let's just go ahead and do an implementation of this. So to do this, we'll need some user interface. But before that, let's just go ahead and test if this actually even works without a user interface. So let's just go ahead and give this page a refresh. And clearly you can see the link is being generated right here. But I know you guys probably, in order to follow along, you need to authenticate at this point, which this is the same code snippet as this. So as you can see, you will need a publishable key. And in order to get that, let me sort you out. Just go into intasend.com. Head over to intasend.com. And once that loads up, you want to go into the developers tab in the navigation bar. It should be at the top right corner right here. Just click on the developers API, like such. And once the documentation page loads, all you have to do is click on the sandbox/test environment like so. And with this, you'll be able to receive some credentials that you can use for testing. So just go ahead and click on get your API keys. And you should be able to get your publishable key right there. So that will be all that you will require, and I would suggest you do not close this page if you want to add a webhook to monitor this. Otherwise, just copy this code and you should be good to go. So yeah, let's just get back to this. As you can see, the implementation is working just fine, and you are able to generate this link, which if you visit, should be able to initiate that transaction. But in order to actually have this looking quite good, we need to have some sort of user interface. And for that, I have some code that I'll be sure to leave down in the description for you guys to use. But it should be right here. So this is the code right here. Should be in the dist. So I'm just going to copy these two files right here. Then head back to my text editor. And then I'm going to reveal this in the file explorer. And then I'm just going to paste in these two. So I have an index.html and a style.css. So within this HTML, I just need to grab all this. So this is a code pen. So what I'll do here is I'm going to close off the PHP, and then I'm going to introduce all this HTML right here, like so. And I'm going to delete this index.html file. No longer require that. Delete. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have this, I want to stop this code from running every time that we refresh that page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an if statement right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if the user pressed the checkout button. So I'm going to say if it sets, and then I'm going to check the post variable, and I'm going to say the submit button. So I'm checking the submit button if it has been clicked, and if so, this particular code should run. If not, we are going to respond to the user by some JSON. say maybe valid owner. Let me just say unauthorized method. So what I'm going to do now, just hit back and give this a while. So if I go ahead and refresh this page, so unauthorized method not allowed. This is not generating anything. So let's just go ahead and start using this user interface. Let me give this a refresh. Just comment this out. So here we have that user interface. Let's just go ahead and get rid of some things that we don't really require here. So now, first of all, I can notice some kind of like ad here. So let me get rid of this. Okay. So creating a checkouts. The checkouts. Something. So what I'm going to need here is what is important to me here is the email address, the names, and probably that's the amount. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to go into this particular source code, and as you can see, let me just zoom out a bit. So here we have the card number. So I think it's just fitting that this should be the email address, and the input field, the classes don't really matter there. What I'm more interested in is this placeholder. Email. And as for the type, it's okay, just type text. So next is the expiry date. Let me just say first name. So the input ID, I'm more interested in the type. So it's type text. Placeholder is going to be the name. Okay. Next we have the CVC. So I'm just going to say last name. Okay. So the input ID doesn't really matter. Placeholder. So we have that covered. So I'm just going to do name on card. It's gonna be the amount. So same thing right here. For the amount, make sure the type is just keep that text. And then for the placeholder, I'm just going to say enter amount. Okay. So the last input field is the email. So I'm just going to do the currency. So for the currency, same shindig. Just make sure the type is text, placeholder. Just put Kenya shillings, the placeholder. Okay, and for just get rid of this text. So for the button, what we'll do is going to say pay now. So in terms of the UI, this should be good to go, but now we have to create the functionality for this. So the email address, first name, last name, amount, currency, pay now. Everything looks good. So what I'll have to do now is I should locate a form, of which I don't see any form here. So what we are going to do is right here, after this date, I'm going to create a form element. So my autocomplete is just filling. So I'm just going to do everything like that. The method is going to be post. And the action is going to be the same page. So we can do a self. We can just specify that it's going to be index.html. .php, sorry. Then just close that up and just grab this form tag right here. Then just go ahead and put it right here. Yeah. Then for the button, you'll need to add a few more properties, of which that will be the name. For the name, I'm going to put submit. And value is going to be value. The type is going to be submit. Good. So all these input fields as well need to be dynamic. So for the email address as well, let's go ahead and set that up. So after the placeholder, just add this name. Gonna be email, and same here. Name is equals to first name. Name is gonna be last name. And as for the amount, is also gonna be amount. For the currency, the name is gonna be the currency. So now we have these values being dynamic from our input fields. So now we have to actually have this in the PHP. So in order to do this, once we have actually checked that the user has clicked the submit button, let's go ahead and define these particular variables. So I'm just going to say variable, I'm guessing first name, gonna be variable underscore post first name. Same goes for the second name. Then variable email gonna be variable underscore post, email variable amounts. It's gonna be the same, and then variable currency. Yeah, so let's just confirm the names. I'm not so sure about the first name and the last name. So let's just confirm the names that we gave. So yeah, first name, last name. Good. So in this case, that means that you have to kind of change a little bit, because I think for this last name, we gave it a difference. Yeah, so this has to be last name. Like so. So now let's get these values to be dynamic. Just go ahead and get rid of this string, and then just pass in variable first name. Second name. Email, that will be variable email. Country, okay, just leave that to be generic. Doesn't really matter that much. Amount, variable amount. Okay, that's condescending. So I'm just going to say pay amounts. Then I'll change this to pay amounts. Yeah, currency is gonna be variable currency. I don't know. Can't do this. Pay currency. So yeah, pay currency. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Okay, so for the callback, I'm just going to go ahead and grab this right here and set this as the host. So let's just go ahead and create the success page. So success.php. So to get a success page, let's go over to tailblocks.cc. I covered this in another video. You should check it out. It's a fantastic one. So for this, I'm just going to need some hero. Some hero right here. Hold on. Should be right here. Yeah, they should do it. So the color scheme, I think I'm okay with this. Give it a little bit of dark mode. And then copy that code snippets to the clipboard right there. Head over to Tailwind because I need the CDN. Meanwhile, that won't work, so HTML should get this. So I'm just going to call this success. Such. And then I'm going to paste the code I just grabbed right there. And for the button, I should just say back to home. Okay, then I'm going to put an anchor tag right here. It's going to link to the index.php. Grab this. Give me a second to get rid of the gray button. And then bada boom, bada bam. So let's just go ahead and check this out. Just a little bit installation. So you're going to use the play CDN. Just go ahead and grab it right here. Should be right over here. Let's just go ahead and grab this script. Paste it before you close the start. So, and aha. So if I go ahead and visit success, .php. Okay, 1 second there. This first tag. And I'm just going to give the entire body this color. So let me just grab it. My trusted color picker. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of global style. The background color of that shade of black right there. Fresh. Yeah, that's good. So let me just say success. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this. And I'm also gonna get rid of the shadow details. This is speed. Let's go with this. So for the image, I'm just going to go into so it's going to browse for an illustration that matches the button. So just going to set this color to a bit of yellow. This should do it. This should do it. So let me search for success. I'm not going to stress over this. This is going to be the illusion of choice. So let me just go and download this PNG because they're all awesome. No need to dwell upon this. This should be the SAM folder. htdocs. Let's check out. Back to the code right here. So I can just go ahead and specify the source. That's going to be the images and PNG. So close that off, refresh, and I believe we're good. We're good. So if I head back to the code, let's just go ahead and test the index.php. See how that's doing. Just a second, let me get my phone. Now we have this right here. So you can just go ahead and now test this. I'm just going to enter that email address, Fortune Langarts. The amount I'm going to do 100. And the currency, let's do 10 shillings. And click pay now. So undefined array key first name on line 14. Okay. So first name is gonna be variable underscore post first name. Let's check out what we actually put in there. So for the first name, what did we put as the name? Okay, my fault. There's a typo here. Name. So I'm just gonna go ahead back into that browser. Reload that page. Try this again. So Fortune Langarts, the amount 100. No, let me do 10. No, let me just do 20. The currency is gonna be Kenya shilling. And let me click on pay now. So there's the link. I can have this to redirect. I should be able to have this to be redirected, but it's not really necessary. But we can have this once you click the checkout page, you can just automatically redirect to, what, let's just do it. But we have to say it when we can do it. So if I go right here, where I am actually printing this out, yeah, should do. Okay, another shot. Boom shakalaka. Yeah. So as you can see, the name, Fortune Langat 54, and the amount will be dynamically generated from those particular input fields. So you can go ahead and make this checkout, and we should be able to monitor this transaction. So as you can see, you can use this for your particular system. This could be an e-commerce or whichever service or product you're selling. You can be able to use this checkout link for your checkout. I know how that sounds, but it just makes sense that way. Or you can use this to. So as you can see, this is how you can be able to utilize the Intasend checkout link to be able to make your transactions possible, request payments, etc. All that stuff you can be able to do with this. And let's just tweak this a little bit and see what actually changes. So let's just head back to localhost 3000. So those were the options that were presented for using Kenya shillings. Let's just go ahead and see what happens if I go with a bit of another different currency. So I'm just going to say $1, and I'm going to use the currency to be USD. And if I click on pay now, I should be redirected to the checkout link, but the payment options that I should be presented with should be different. So if I go ahead and click pay now, as you can see, I now have the Bitcoin option and the Cash App option as well. So yeah, just go ahead, go wild, get creative with this particular Intasend checkout link. I'll be covering a lot to do with Intasend and more especially all the APIs they have under their belt. So be sure to stick with me, sub to the channel, register down below. The link will be down below for Intasend API. Join the Discord server. No, join the Slack as well. Link will also be down in the description. And yeah, peace out. I'll be sure to pump out a lot more of these videos. I really appreciate you guys watching, subscribing. And as you all know, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.